I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
Check it out now.
Reading the book Indian Wells, let's call it what it is, the BNP Paribas Open at Indian Wells, tennis tournament, the de facto 5th major, if you will, of the tennis calendar. Gill Alexander, live on Twitter. Let me do the old retweet here on Twitter real quick so we get folks on there. And my guests, as always, on the tennis podcast on the Beating the Book feed, the co-host of the Deep Dive podcast, which he does with his buddy Andy Molitor, and of course NBC Sports Bet the Edge, which he does with Jay Croucher. You can follow him on Twitter. Not on Twitter. Yeah, on Twitter at whale_capper. Drew Dinsick. Drew, thanks for doing this, man. Appreciate it.
Of course. Appreciate you inviting me. I always love talking tennis. Always love it, man. We've been doing this slam.
Fifth
Some
slam,
people
man.
think it's the Hall of Fame 250, but they've retired that one, I think. So now it's Indian Wells.
Now it's Indian Wells, which, by the way, didn't Key Biscayne used to be the 5th major, and then Key Biscayne went away, and now this became the 5th major, kind of, sort of?
I know. We always used to joke about the Newport at Rhode Island, when they do the grass after Wimbledon, and everybody's like, why are they even doing this?
Like Stevie Johnson wins every year.
Exactly. Stevie Johnson. We would always joke that was the 5th major, but in reality, this is probably the most important of the Masters, I think. And it's kind of the kickoff of the season, right? Like the Australian Open experience is it's a little bit weird because you haven't really kind of seen everybody in their peak form yet.
Do we have a Drew fail right there off the top?
Wells it is.
There we go.
Oh,
Drew, we're seeing you blurry. Hopefully we can get back. Zach, you okay there? You see him?
I'm good. Yeah,
Okay.
He's blurry to me too. I hear him though.
He's blurry. All right, maybe restart Drew on that. Drew Dinsick will revamp. There he is. He's back. And then of course from VSiN also does stuff for the tennis channel. Our own Zach Cohen at VSiN, where you can follow him on Twitter. Of course, at Betting on X. Zach, pleasure. Thanks, man. Appreciate you doing this.
Thank you. I love doing this.
This is the best. All right. So let's just start. When we talk about Indian Wells, I'm going to go to the phone here because we always talk about the surface, and I always want to get the surface right here. For those who don't know, this is hardcourt. This is the first of the two, what they call the Sunshine Slam. This and the Miami Open, which used to be in Key Biscayne, now is in a parking lot outside of Hard Rock Stadium, and they put a center court in the middle of Hard Rock Stadium. It's an awful thing. Don't go get me started on that. But Indian Wells, the week before in Palm Springs, before last season. So it is a hard court, but it is the slowest of all the hard courts. Very gritty. And before last season, they made a big deal about switching the court surfaces, where I go to the phone, from Plexipave to Lakehold. I'm sure you guys remember those surfaces. But so it was, it was supposed to make the courts faster, of course, moving away from the reputations having as slow as hard courts. But as I recall, and this is confirming that I am remembering it correctly, the balls might have bounced lower, but it wasn't really that much faster in the end. So it still plays super slow. Does it mess, Drew? We'll start with you. Does it mess with your handicapping that it's a hard, but it's still slow, or are you able to sort of navigate that?
I mean, this is kind of to me at least, this is the perfect kind of middle speed on the court. It gives the players who kind of excel more with their movement and with their ability to create rally tolerance. Like, it gives them a chance against the heavier hitters. So I think it's kind of perfect, and I'm glad that they don't really mess with it, despite trying to kind of acquiesce to player requests.
Despite Medvedev screaming and complaining about it.
Yeah, I mean, to catch him on the wrong day, he'll complain about anything. But yeah, last year was I'm looking at my numbers now. It was a perfectly neutral surface. Like, it really did not give anyone an advantage, and that's what you want right now. Like, you want a true test. You want to we have a bunch of results in the books as far as tournaments go. Obviously, we have a slam in the books, but for a lot of players, the season starts now. And giving them a neutral test is perfect.
Let's start on the men's side. Let's do that because that tends to be, in this world of Alcaraz and Sinner, tends to be a little more straightforward. The draw is out. Let me just start there. The draw is out. The odds are not. So the issue with this, as opposed to the actual slams, is that the window between the draw and the actual tournament starting is the shortest of all of them. It's 36 hours. This tournament starts Wednesday morning in Palm Springs. Or at Indian Wells specifically. So we don't have the odds up yet. We don't have quarters, let alone futures at all on this. So we're just going to sort of do this hypothetically. The quarters on the men's side, and when they first put these out in a graphic, they got it all wrong. Why can't Indian Wells do the draw correctly, by the way? It's the biggest sort of snafu with all this stuff. But on the men's side, quarter one, I'll just throw out some names. Alcaraz's quarter. De Minaur is in there. Bublik is in there. Korda, Ruud. That's about it. I'm not going to go any further. Quarter two is the Taylor. Quarter two is pretty interesting. Djokovic, Medvedev, Fritz, Humbert, Lehechka, Draper, who is the defending champion, by the way, on the men's side. Cerundolo's in there as well. Quarter three is the Zverev quarter with Musetti. By the way, the last time we did a tennis pod, we did the Australian Open, the three of us. Kind of crushed that, and it would have been huge if Musetti had not bowed out, had him in the quarter, up 2 sets, 1 set away from winning the quarter, and he bowed out against Joker. Sorry to bring it up. But anyway, quarter three, Zverev, Musetti, Fils, Rublev, FAA, Koboli. And then quarter four is the Sinner one. That's got Shelton, Tien, Mensick, Fonseca, Hatchinoff, Tommy Paul. Can I say Tsitsipas? Am I allowed to include him? So, Drew, we'll start with you. Your overall thoughts on this and then how the draw played out.
Yeah, you failed to mention former champion Cam Norrie is in quarter one.
That's correct. I did. For you, in your honor, I should have.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Didn't mention Cam. Yeah, Scam is seated in this one, which was a little surprising. But no, it's a really balanced draw, I think. It's notable that the joke we make for all of the tennis previews of the men's tournament starts on blank, final Sunday of the calendar. Wouldn't have applied last year, as neither Sinner nor Alcaraz made the final, let alone won. Sinner was not in the field because he was serving his doping suspension. Important to remind people of that because they probably have forgotten. And yeah, Alcaraz lost in the semis to Draper, who had his kind of breakout moment. We haven't seen or heard much from him since because he's been so injured. But I really like the kind of the balance of this draw. It sets up well for chalk. I'm always excited when Alcaraz and Djokovic are on the same half, and they are. I think Zverev and Sinner on the same half is actually a fun potential bottom half semifinal. And then all of the players who have played well this year, who are kind of having their breakout moments, are kind of scattered nicely across the landscape, I feel, so that we're going to get some really interesting round 3, round 4 matches here. If this was a less of a random draw and more of a, hey, you three guys who care about tennis, why don't you put players where you want them to be to make some compelling matchups? This is pretty much how I would have done it.
Zach, if Alcaraz wins quarter 1 and Sinner wins quarter 4, and maybe you're not prepared to say that, maybe you are, but let's start with the other two first, Q2 and Q3. Where might your bets be based on where the number might be? Who are you looking at?
Yeah, I actually think that Fritz has a pretty good draw. I don't think he's played particularly well this season, but I do think that this is a venue that kind of brings out the best in him. And I don't really think he's going to be challenged that much until he faces potentially Medvedev. And what is it, the round of 16? And Medvedev, by the way, is like still in Dubai and stuck there. Hopefully he's able to get there. But I do think it's a nice draw for Fritz up until the quarterfinals, where it's potentially either Djokovic or Draper. But I don't know if it's going to be either of those guys, given what Djokovic has looked like at this tournament in the past and just generally this time of year. And Draper, who we just saw lose to like Arthur Rinderknecht a couple of days ago. So the form isn't there for him. So I think that Fritz, it's a good time for him not to be playing well, I guess, if these are the guys in his draw, because none of them are playing well either.
Yeah, Fritz, by the way, a former champion as well. Just the past, the recent past since COVID. Cam Norrie, what Drew referred to, Cam Norrie beat the great Nicholas Basilashvili, if you remember that weird one in 2021. Then it was Fritz. Remember that morning where it looked like Fritz was going to be hurt and Nadal was going to win it, then Nadal was the one who was hurt, and Fritz was the biggest win of Fritz's career, by the way, till this day.
Yes.
Then Alcaraz beat Medvedev twice in a row, and last year it was Draper over Holger Vita, what was it? Vitskov?
Nodskov. Vitis Rune.
Vitis Nodskov Rune, that's right. Who's the play here in like who's the guy in 3? The Musetti, Zverev, Koboli. Is Koboli's game translate here?
I like the Fritz shout a lot because it was a joke back in the day. You used to have 2 numbers for Fritz. Like people who now think of Fritz, like, oh, he's been the top rated American for a long time, blah, blah, blah. Like he's made some deep runs, some slams. People really know him from that. But back in the day, it was literally you had a Fritz number for when he was playing any other tournament. And then you had a California Fritz number where he was like, sleeping in his own bed type of handicap on Fritz whenever he was in Indian Wells or, Newport Challenger or, whatever. Like when he was in Southern California, he was his most comfortable and his most outstanding. And so kind of curious to see if he's able to capture some form in this tournament. And he did get a gem of a draw. I think Musetti got a gem of a draw too. I'm excited to see him play Feast potentially in the 3rd round. I'm excited to see him play Felix Auger-Aliassime in the 4th round. But, for me, Musetti is still the quality player in the top half of Q3. And if you're going to take on Zverev, you're going to do it with Musetti, I think. Zverev has had some awesome moments at Indian Wells. I remember his breakout came when he almost beat Nadal, shanked an easy volley into the net that would have set a match point for him when he was like 18-year-old and kind of told you, because this is like peak Nadal time. And you're like, wow, man, like this guy's going to be something special, and never ended up really materializing. So, Q3 is a really fun one, but I don't know. My numbers say don't quit Musetti.
I was just looking back here, just reminding myself, Novak won this 5 times. Has won this 5 times. I forget he still plays. Rafa won this 3 times. Roger won it 5 times. And Roger got to like 4 other finals that he lost, which is just insane at this tournament. So how can I put this? So if it's not Alcaraz and Sinner, who's the guy that wins this tournament? Zach?
This is tough because I'm not usually the one that's as confident in Alcaraz Sinner getting to the final as you guys are, but I do think that Alcaraz is going to win this tournament. I just think that this is like the perfect, situation for him. And I just, the conditions are flawless when you're looking at his game. I know that last year he kind of got boat raced by Draper, but don't really think that's going to happen again, at least not when looking at his draw. So I wish I had an answer. I don't really. I like Fritz is the kind of weirdest pick that I have. Him going, to the semifinals in this tournament, and I have him losing to Alcaraz. But I think like if you want to get like really weird with it, I guess like in Q3, it wouldn't shock me if like one of the Americans gets to the semis. Like if it's like Nakashima or like Brooksby, that's such a bad portion of the draw. It's a bunch of guys that are either very hard to trust or coming off injury. So I wouldn't be shocked if that's where we just see some really random semifinalists.
Whose game translates better to the surface? Feast, Koboli, someone like either of those guys, or not really?
I think that we just saw Koboli. Like I think that it translates pretty well because he just won Acapulco, but at the same time, him winning a tournament like that makes him really hard to trust going to another event. So I just kind of think he's right for an early upset.
He's got a nice break because of the way it's set up, right? Like the way that it's structured, he doesn't have to play right away, which is good for him.
Best open. Yeah.
Getting the bye, basically. Getting the bye in the round of 64 is huge for Koboli.
Yeah.
All right. So if we did quarter winners here and and you can give like 2 choices in each. Q1 is Alcaraz, nobody else, not de Minaur, not Bublik.
I like Bublik. but
You like
he would be my second choice in that section. I am if Demonauer comes through the bottom half of the draw, probably the bet of the tournament is Alcaraz 2-0. Demonauer has painted himself as such a very predictable character at this point, beating the players who he's rated higher than, and then just getting boat raced by the good guys. So kind of to Zach's point, usually I'm at over 85% for Alcaraz plus center to ship, and I'm only at 70 here. Some of it is the format and the fact that so many of the kind of middle class guys get that bye in round one, kind of makes things interesting where you're going to have a lot of the chalk, no chances for kind of early chaos upsets opening paths for people. But a lot of guys I have at like 2 to 4% in this one. And that's unusual.
Give me a 4%er I would be surprised by.
Zverev is at 4 for me. Maybe you're not surprised by that, but he's actually rating pretty solidly after his run at Australia. I don't know. Did you guys think he deserved a little bit of a better fate against Alcaraz, or did you expect that he was going to go down that way in the semis?
I had him to win a set, or I forgot what I had. I think I had him to win a set, and like he let one get away that he should have won, and then he won once Alcaraz started cramping up. I've like just downgraded him like in my mind so much because I just have zero trust in him in terms of like the mental parts of the sport now. I feel like that was such a bad loss for him to take.
Well, losing a tiebreak to be defeated in Acapulco by Kekmanovic probably didn't help his confidence much. My numbers coming out of that match were Zverev played Alcaraz pretty squarely, and if Alcaraz, is who we think he is, that just makes me think my Zverev number may be, if anything, a little low.
The issue for me here is because I agree, Zach, with the whole American take on things, but Tommy Paul, Lerner Tien, and Ben Shelton are all in Sinner's quarter.
Yeah.
And I wish at least one of them was in 2 or 3, where Alcaraz and Sinner are not. But as a result, they kind of get blocked. But I'll just tell you, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So Alcaraz, Bublik, 1-2 for me. Just trying to make it interesting for Alcaraz.
I like it.
Q2, Joker and Draper. Djokovic and Draper. Medvedev being the sort of fly in the ointment there. Humbert is a pretty interesting guy for me as well, but not to win it, obviously. Musetti and Zverev in 3. And then Sinner and Shelton, I think, in 4. Is that kind of what you guys generally have?
I think I have Djokovic for an early exit here just because I think his draw is pretty nasty. He's going to have 4 tough matches to get to a quarterfinal here, or to get to a semifinal here. And at that point, presumably Alcaraz. So I'm cool taking some shots in Q2. As mentioned, Fritz rates pretty highly for me. Fritz Medvedev is a really fun matchup in the 4th round. I have Fritz's small advantage there, mostly because of just how he rates at this venue, which is, he's usually playing at about a half standard deviation over his otherwise season-long average in the Indian Wells.
I'm going to tell you what my overall headline is on both of these draws, men's and women. I think for all the podcasts we've done, Slams and Indian Wells, which is 5 a year, this is about as balanced men's and women's of a draw for both sides that I think we've ever gotten on anything. Like, I don't look at either draw and I'm like, oh man, this person got crushed or this person got, the best of it. I think they're kind of evenly balanced. We'll get to the women's here in a minute. But and on the men's side, as long as you have Alcaraz and Sinner, it's never going to be a thing, but it's about as well balanced as I think you can get on this.
Yeah.
By the way, best first round matches, Tsitsipas Shapovalov and Berrettini Mannarino. Pretty good. Interesting matches to start.
Berrettini,
but again, we don't have lines. I'm sorry, Drew, what'd you say?
Is Berrettini going to play?
No, I don't know. He's in the draw. Is he?
I saw him play some golden swing. He didn't look great, but
yeah. He signed up for it anyway. And no Holger Rune. He still got the Achilles injury, of course.
But he's on the prowl. He's coming back soon.
All right. I wish we were more interesting about the men's, but that's really, it's the long and short of it. So I just think if you had to give a Q2, so I'll give you Alcaraz and center, Drew. Who's your Q2 and your Q3 winner?
I'm going to take Fritz over Draper.
Wow,
in
both of you
Q2.
Fritz. Both
I have Fritz as almost 20. I'll just use as a reference, because we don't really have a betting market, but the betting markets have been pretty closely correlated to Jeff Sackman's numbers, and he's got Fritz at 15% to win Q2. I'm at 25%, so I'm well ahead of him there. He's got Djokovic at 41% in Q2. I think that's bonkers. Djokovic is a threat to get beat by the Polish kid Maharaj. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Mahach.
Mahach? No, not Mahach. Not Mahach. It's M-A-J-C-H.
Mashak. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he is very live to beat Djokovic in round of 32. Mutet, I think.
Just occurs to me, if you're not a tennis hardo, how stupid that just sounded. Mahach is M-A-C-H-A-C.
You know what? We'll go with Camille.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Camille. That's right.
Camille. Camille's live to get the upset in round 3 over Djokovic. Mutet live to come out of that, even if Djokovic comes through round 32, I think. And then, that whole next section of Draper is going to be interesting. I like Marijan as a player a lot. I think he'll come through the qualifier pretty straightforwardly. And then Cerundolo, Marijan's going to be awesome match. Draper potentially against Cerundolo is a fun one, but I would give the edge to Draper there. And then, Medvedev I have as close to 22% to come out of the quarter, and Taylor I have as 25. So I think the bottom half of Q2 is going to be pretty straightforward. Fritz, Medvedev, and I have Fritz coming out of there just as a flyer.
Interesting. That's my 6-month numbers the 12-month numbers on Fritz are really good, just below elite. The 6-month numbers aren't very good at all for what that's worth. I mean, they're good.
Yeah, he didn't do much and I like players like that coming into these two tournaments in particular. And if Fritz is going to do anything this year, he better do well here and he better do well in Miami, because he is going to struggle on clay. And he will take a ratings beating coming through the 2 slams of the summer if he doesn't do some damage here. And I think he knows that. So the degree to which there is urgency for him to show up, I think, is real.
Well, Drew, he always has a stellar personality to fall back on.
By the way, we should talk. Did you guys see the Fritz video of him getting into the conditions and the balls while gaming?
No,
someone
that sounds about right though.
Someone clipped 8 minutes.
I can envision it.
It was 8 minutes of him just talking, answering a question about why Indian Wells is so slow, and he said that this year it's going to be even slower because they changed the balls to balls that fluff up a lot faster. So not only did the courts not get faster last year, but the balls are also going to make it play slower. So he's convinced it's going to be just an absolute battle.
Man.
Yeah.
And then Q3, Drew, I'll get Zach after you.
Q3, I have very straightforward on that one. Zverev versus Musetti in the quarterfinals there. I am intrigued in the top half, man. Sackman only has Musetti coming out 15% of the time. I'm closer to 22. So I'm higher on Musetti than Sackman. I think that's because I'm lower on Felix Auger-Aliassime. He's given him a lot of credit, and I don't know. Congratulations, you can win all the 250s you want. He's another guy that's kind of Alex de Minaur-esque, where give him a real challenge on a guy who's playing peak tennis on a good day, he's in deep trouble.
I think that flurry we saw from FAA, from Auger-Aliassime at the end of last year, is the last we'll ever see that. That I think was the peak of his career.
His
was he semis in the U.S. Open
rating for me was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Huh.
Zach, what about 2 and 3 for you? That sound about right?
Yeah, because I filled out a whole bracket for both. So I have Alcaraz over Demon in quarter 1. I have Fritz over Djokovic in quarter 2. I have Fils over Zverev in quarter 3.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you like Fils against Musetti, huh?
I do. But that's just because I've seen a little bit more of Fils off the injury. We haven't seen Musetti since he got hurt. It wouldn't be surprising if he's just fine and he sat out a little bit longer to make it seem like he didn't just pull out of that match for no reason. But
yeah.
I do think that I like Fils over Zverev. I would like probably Musetti over Zverev too. But quarter 4, I have Sinner over Menchik. I think the Menchik's been playing really well. But then Alcaraz over Sinner in the final.
Alcaraz over Sinner in the final. I can get behind Fils. Fils is electric. Got a great game. But yeah, and we haven't seen anything of Musetti since, right? So we don't know.
He's done this a lot, though. Musetti has a lot of high-profile retirements. You guys don't need me to tell you. Yeah, Roland Garros against Alcaraz was an obvious one. He came back, and he didn't play much else that summer, but he was very fresh and good in the U.S. Open, which was his next realistic chance to do anything. There's like 4 or 5 times I can recall him retiring and it seeming very serious. And then in a quick turnaround, he was still beating elite competition. So I'm not really worried about Musetti's injury personally, but
did I mention he was up 2-0 on Djokovic and I had him for the quarter? Did I mention that?
Oh yeah.
I think that came up.
What was the live market on that? Do you remember? Was it like minus 500, minus 800? It was over.
Brutal. I know other sports have brutal beats and stuff, but tennis is a special kind of brutal. All right, shall we go to the women? Let's go to the women. The ladies, where for the first time in the history of our podcast, I actually have 6-month numbers where Iga Swiatek is not number 1 anymore. It's Aryna Sabalenka. It's not the case for the 1-year number still. But we have, I'll just read sort of the big names in each quarter. Number 1 seed, Sabalenka's in Q1 with Iva Jovic, Naomi Osaka, Victoria Mboko, Kalinskaya, and Anisimova, all in quarter number 1.
Such a good quarter.
Bro, I don't know if she makes it out of there.
If you chalk out the 4th round, it's Sabalenka, Jovic, or Osaka, and Mboko, Anisimova, man, that is the day to have tickets for Indian Wells.
Yes. Sadly, those will all be midweek, so I won't be there. But
when's the 4th round? Isn't the 4th round Sunday? No.
I'll probably be gone right as those happen. Yeah, Friday and Saturday for me. But I really believe that that's a quarter where Jovic or Mboko, like somebody can win that. Who's not Sabalenka or Anisimova? I have a feeling about Jovic here. Zach, you're like,
yeah,
Sabalenka's winning.
I have Sabalenka to win the quarter, but I don't have Sabalenka in the finals, and part of that has to do with feeling she can lose in that quarter. So yeah. I put her in there kind of reluctantly. I won't be taking her to win that quarter, but I do think that she's most likely, obviously, to win. But there's definitely spots where she could trip up. I think that she would beat Jovic, though, because I just think that we kind of saw it already, and like she just was a little bit too powerful for her. But I do think it's a tricky quarter when you get to the quarterfinals, and Anisimova or Mboko can definitely beat her.
Yeah, the reason that I kind of think about Jovic there is because they have played before, right? And she's got that under her belt kind of thing, where it's like, okay, now I can actually play with some confidence here. Quarter 2, we'll get back to that. Quarter 2, Coco, Alexandra Ayala, I'm kind of reaching here, Diana Schneider, Noskova, Alexandrova, Badosa, Towson, Paolini. Man, you just throw them up in the air for me. I have no particular favorite here by the numbers. Drew?
Pegula.
Wait, am I in the wrong quarter? I thought Pegula was 3.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Q2 or on Q2. Yeah. These are all women that I'm pretty down on.
Me
honestly.
Too. Yeah.
I would say if there were an interesting name who was playing in the round of 64, I would probably consider backing them to carry form through here, because this is the way Coco Gauff is playing right now. I can't believe she's still a 4th seed.
I know. This to me could be it. But by the way, Paula Badosa, who did I mention her? She won this the same year. Remember that Cam Norrie won it, Badosa won this. This was the biggest.
It was a more impressive field than Cam's field by a lot.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. She beat Azarenka in the finals. Since then, it's been Iga, Rybakina, Iga. Last year, the defending champion, Mira Andreeva at Indian Wells. Zach, Q2, who do you have winning it?
I have Goff over Badosa. I think the bottom one is like, it's completely wide open because Paolini's looked awful every time I've seen her, and took a bad loss a couple days ago, just where she did not look like a top 10 player whatsoever. So I think it's kind of open for somebody like a Badosa to make a deep run. And Goff, I just think like, I don't know, when we talked about the Australian Open, I said like she wins really ugly, and this is just like the perfect tournament for that, in my opinion. It's going to be windy, it's going to be slow, and I just think she can grind out wins against players that are similarly having trouble holding.
In 4 matches in Dubai, this was the Coco Gauff double fault percentages. Are you ready?
I love it.
17.1, 17.2, 16.7, and 10.3. She had 4 consecutive matches where her double fault percentage was double digits. That is absurdly poor service. And if it's windy, like, okay. Could we potentially see a 22% double fault? What is the ceiling? Like, how bad could it get? She's gonna play. Yeah, she's gonna serve her way out of a very winnable match early in this tournament. I think we'll see.
I have a feeling we have a bizarro semi on that side on that half of the bracket.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's like
maybe Paolini. I don't know.
Yeah,
she's like the least likely to take herself out of this one, probably. I don't know.
If it's Maboko Towson or Maboko Paolini, I would not be shocked. Or Jovic Paolini, some combination of that. I would not be shocked. I had just convinced myself this was evenly done, but now I'm not so sure after I review this here.
I don't know, man. You're colder on Sabalenka than I would have guessed. So Sabalenka hasn't played since the Australian Open final. Since what? Post Wimbledon, she's only been beaten by 2 women. Rybakina's beaten her 3 times, and Pegula's beaten her once. Plus, she just got a new puppy. You got to factor that.
This ain't her tournament, though, man.
You think this is a warm up for Miami, and Miami is the one that she feels like that's the one where she sharpens her spear and comes in with a little interesting.
That's how I'm looking at it. I don't know. We'll see. I could be completely wrong. She wins the whole thing. But I have a feeling if she's ever going to stumble here in the short term, this might be it.
I think there's going to be good tennis from her. I mean, it'll be fun to watch her 4th round match potentially against Jovic, and then her quarterfinal. But Anisimova got her at Wimbledon. Maybe Anisimova can get her. Mboko is a player who we don't really know what her ceiling is, so maybe she could get her. But I think Sabalenka comes through the top half without dropping a set. I'm rating her pretty much right at her peak. Other than Rybakina, I don't think she has a problem with anyone in this draw.
I say what I say, and then I look at the raw numbers, and the raw numbers are saying what you're saying. Because on her half of the bracket, the next best player is Jovic in terms of numbers on her half. Am I seeing? No, Anisimova. Anisimova is.
Anisimova, yeah. But the gap's big.
It's not like it's not like the whoever beats her would have to have with the exception of Anisimova, would have to just be out of their skull on that day. Yeah. Based on the numbers. Osaka's always tricky too, right? Who knows?
Zach, what's your take on Mboko in terms of ceiling?
Ceiling's like multiple Grand Slams, in my opinion. So very, very high on her. I was like really nervous early in the year because she was wearing some like gigantic, like I tore my ACL knee pad, but like from what I knew, she had not. So I shouldn't have been that worried. But like I think that she's the type of player that could easily win a tournament like this because she's got a really good serve. She can also kind of win longer points, and it's the type of thing where like if the conditions just go absolutely crazy, she should be fine and be able to grind out a win. That's really important to me here. That's kind of why I think that Sabalenka runs into trouble somewhere. It's just like she gets a windy day and the ball's not going her way, she'll lose her emotion. Like, just lose her mind on the court. And you really probably shouldn't be handicapping that way, but it's just like, it happens.
Oh, man. Are you kidding me? Sabalenka screaming at herself, and then Coco screaming at her coach. I've done everything you've asked me to do. That kind of thing with her serve. Q3. Rybakina and Pegula in Q3, along with Bencic, Kostyuk, Mertens, Keys, Ostapenko, that group. But it's Rybakina and Pegula. Bencic can pollute this? Keys? No, not Keys. Bencic, maybe? What's preventing a Pegula-Rybakina final? Anything? Anybody?
I have Pegula over Bencic in the round of 16.
Do?
I also have Pegula beating Rybakina. I think this is a really good tournament for her to kind of get some revenge for the Australian Open, just because I do think the service will kind of neutralize the Rybakina serve a little bit. And Pegula is just like kind of like a 1,000 wagon. She wins these tournaments regularly, doesn't win the slams. I know that, but she does win these tournaments at a very high clip, and I would not be surprised if she's the winner. I have her versus Coco in the final. I think Pegula's going to win.
Yeah, I have Pegula as fourth right now, and then
me too.
Pretty decent gap.
I was just about to say I have her the fourth best player in the world on hards, and consistently so, like unchallenged. Svitolina is making a move in the short term numbers, but Pegula just a model of consistency. You have Pegula and Rybakina in the quarter there.
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
Too.
I don't think any of the other women are serious threats of stopping that.
All right.
Again,
Q4.
like if this I forget if the women, do they line up the quarterfinals on the same days, or they play them back to back? So the Q1 and the Q3 quarterfinal days are going to be freaking awesome.
Yeah.
They're going to be two really good matches.
You never go to this tournament, Drew? Never?
I never have been. I absolutely love the desert, and especially this time of year, but I never made it out for this.
All right.
I have to change that.
Anxious to hear both of your thoughts on Q4. Mira Andreeva, the defending champion. Peyton Stearns, who just won in Austin, is in there. Katerina Siniakova, whose numbers are way better than most people think. Elina Svitolina, who I just mentioned. On the other side of that quarter, Karolina Muchova, Zhang Xinwen, Maria Sakkari, if I'm allowed to say her, and Iga Swiatek. Who is in this quarterfinal, Zach, per your bracket?
I have Andreeva over Iga, and that's more, it's like I don't think that Andreeva would beat Iga in that match. It's just that I feel a little bit better about Andreeva getting there than I do Iga. So I just felt a little bit better about putting her in the semis, but we'll see. It's going to be, if she faces Svitolina in the quarterfinals, I mean, round of 16, that's a great match. That could easily go either way. But I do think this is one where you could get some decent value. I mean, we haven't seen the odds. We have no idea what they're going to look like. But I have a feeling there will be some good prices here. I mean, Muchova is also here. I think we all pick her at least once.
She finally won. I didn't have $1 on her. It was fun. that was a nice one. Thanks for nothing.
Yeah. Thanks, Carolina.
Pleasure to watch. I'd say
was it
Taggart.
Dubai or Doha? I can't remember. She beat Mboko, right? Am I remembering that?
Can't even remember anymore.
Oh, man, Muchova just won a huge kind of breakthrough tournament. I don't know.
Yeah. So 1, 3, and 4 pretty 1 and 4 pretty stacked. Not even 1 very stacked, kind of, I would say. 4 kind of stacked. 3, it's kind of Rybakina Pegula collision course, and then 2 is wide open. Q2, we all kind of agree on that. Goff, Fiala, Schneider, Noskova, Alexandrova, Badosa, Towson, Paolini. Who knows? That might be, and again, there are no odds. We're doing this really right as the draw comes out. The tournament starts in less than 36 hours. We don't have odds again on any of this stuff, but just sort of as a keep it in your brain notion sort of thing, go to Q2 and look at those odds. Because even if Alexandrova, I'm just picking a name of those that I just mentioned, if one of these girls is like ridiculously long, I don't know, might be worth a shot in there. Does Iala have the game?
I wish she had shown more consistency, but with her last time out, it was bad. And I was like, it was just poor enough to really throw cold water on her kind of continuing to build. So
I was just throwing out a name. I'm just saying, does Iala have the game to win a quarter?
I wish.
I do have Goff pretty comfortably winning the quarter. Those are
Really?
like famous last words. It'll sound so bad, but yeah, I do think that she's going to. I saw her face Iala when Iala was like at her very best and had like the full crowd behind her, and she completely killed her. And that was when Goff was playing really poorly, not that long ago. I think that Goff will play a little bit better with the crowd, like rooting for her. And like I said, I do think like, yeah, her serve's awful, but I do think these conditions make everybody else's serve pretty bad. So you're just kind of being dragged into the mud. And I think that Goff like tends to win those matches more often than not.
Yeah, I'll do the weirdest thing ever, and I'm going to call whatever qualifier plays. It gets drawn in against Ann Lee in round 1. This comes through Q2. I think it's going to be something insane like that. Why not Putin Seva? You know, like something absurd. Like Q2 is going to be absolutely absurd. Q1, I think Sabalenka comes through unscathed. I think she comes through unscathed in the top half without dropping a set personally. Pegula versus Rybakina, flip a coin. I'm going to have Pegula very close to Rybakina in that. And the market's probably going to have Rybakina like minus 200. So my numbers are going to say bet Pegula at price, I'm guessing. And then section 7, my numbers are going to have Svitolina favored over Andreeva in the 4th round. So I'm out on Andreeva backing up her title run here. And then my numbers are going to have Iga pretty comfortably over Sakkari, pretty comfortably over Mukova, and then pretty comfortably over Svitolina. So I think Iga comes through Q4, loses to whoever comes through between Pegula and Rybakina. And then if Pegula gets to the final, your title winner is Sabalenka. If Rybakina gets to the final, I think she probably does it to Sabalenka again. I don't know, man. Like this is turning, I mean, Sabalenka is turning into an interesting, is there a problem with the Rybakina game, which 2016 is going to tell us one way or the other.
I have Pegula for as much as people think I'm a Swiatek truther on stuff. I've been on Pegula for years, way ahead of market, I think, on her numbers. I have her winning that quarter, Q3. I have Iga winning Q4. But and by the way, I have Svitolina as the 5th highest number here, 6 months on hard courts, right behind the big 4, if we include Pegula as 4th. So I think she beats Andreeva as well, based on, or probably the bet will be on Svitolina based on the number there. I'm with you there as well. And I don't know what it is. Sabalenka has the best numbers, but I just have a feeling it's sort of like a Malcolm Gladwell blink thing on this. I really can't tell you why. I just have a feeling.
I'm not going to strongly disagree with you guys. Like Sabalenka's career performances at Indian Wells have not been impressive for whatever reason. And to expect that she's just going to flip a switch and run this time is it's a leap. She got embarrassed, I thought, last year in the final against Andreeva. She should have won that match pretty comfortably. She loses 2-6, 6-4, 6-3. She lost in the finals to Rybakina. I feel like it was super windy that day, and she had a million double faults. Otherwise, she's never even made a final here. Those are the only. She's had 2 runs, 2023 and 2025. Otherwise, she's never played especially impressively well here. Paolini got her here. Kerber got her here. Vondrousova got her here. Emma Navarro beat her here.
Boy, talk about a player that we're not even mentioning because she's just so off.
She's
Navarro. Yeah, no.
I was just going to say, there's a lot of players that like you normally could count on that are just nowhere to be found right now. Between like Ostapenko, Kostyuk, Navarro, there's just a lot of them that like I would always kind of feel like can go 3 or 4 rounds that are just nowhere.
I agree. And Kostyuk started the year so well too.
Yep.
But Navarro is the one that's just dropped off a cliff. Ostapenko also, you're right. The numbers are just gone. Zach, who's winning Q1 and Q2?
I have Sabalenka Goff, and I have Goff over Sabalenka. So we'll see. I don't know that Sabalenka is going to be there, but I do think Goff's going to get to the final.
Okay. Zach,
here's a
cut
tricky
to a
one.
shot of me texting Zach during golf matches.
I got to get one more opinion on a player we barely mentioned because we haven't seen a lot of her recently, and that is Zheng Xinwen.
Yeah.
She returned after a lengthy absence. Looks like about 6 months off, roughly. Played Doha. Came, got her legs under her in 2 hard-fought matches against Kenin and Parks, and then gave Rybakina the business. Almost beat her. I don't think anyone would be surprised if all of a sudden she's like, with a little bit of extra rest and freshness, that she takes down Mukova in the 3rd round and really pushes Iga in the 4th round. Zheng Xinwen and Iga have had interesting close calls over the years. And then if it's Zheng Xinwen, Svitolina, and in the 4th quarterfinal, I would tip Zheng pretty comfortably. So there's an interesting price probably to be had on the comeback for Queen.
Zheng Xinwen, I remember that clay court match back in the day where she gave Iga fits before Iga beat her. Wow, that leaps the
yeah,
line.
I mean, when Iga was at the peak of her powers at Roland Garros, Zheng Xinwen was the only person that took a set off of her.
That's right. That was the one. By the way, I noticed this at Indian Wells last year. Zheng Xinwen played a night match, and you get to watch these, players warming up. She is way too aggressive in the warm-ups, and the player that she plays against, just you can see the dislike from before the match even starts. It's really interesting to watch. Like, it's like, whoa, we're warming up, dude. What are you doing? The other thing about this tournament, which I highly recommend, and this is not a flex, but I'm just trying to get Drew to go. There's the players are at the hotel you're staying at. Like, it's this amazing thing where it's like, oh, hey, I'm sitting on a couch and Ons Jabeur is right next to me checking her texts. Oh, there's Yulia Putintseva. Hey, Miss Putintseva, like top 20 player in the world, like by herself. She can't believe she's even being recognized, kind of thing. So it's a very cool little dynamic at this tournament. Highly recommended. If the U.S. Open is the raucous tournament to go to, this would be my very chill, underrated sport event on the calendar. And this was, by the way, for those, again, for the COVID year, this was for tennis hardos will remember this and no one else will. Before the week of March Madness, when the college basketball tournament shut down while we were on the air, it was that previous Sunday night where quietly the tennis world canceled Indian Wells. And I remember being in the airport in San Francisco. It was like a Hitchcock movie. When I heard that, it was like, oh, the world is about to get fucked big time on that. Anyway, great memories of Indian Wells.
Yeah, your Zheng Xinwen story is interesting. I saw her at the U.S. Open, and my takeaway was she is a very impressive stature.
Yes.
She's a tall, strong woman.
She is statuesque.
Yes,
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you can see it on the broadcast with the Sabalenka. Obviously, she's like an Amazon, but Zheng Xinwen, she was impressive physically. I think she's got an interesting, this is the, to kind of Zach's earlier comment where there's a whole bunch of women or people you kind of get used to, both men and women, who you kind of get used to always being there late in tournaments and they're nowhere to be seen. Like, that happens in January and February every year, I feel like. And then some of those players pop their heads up at this tournament and make a deeper run than you would have ever expected. And you're like, man, why didn't I see that coming out? I knew this was a good player that had that level of game. And it just catches you by surprise because, again, some players are already starting to get a little fatigued with how many matches they've played this season, and some are literally like, this is the beginning of my season and I'm ready to fire. And that's a fun dynamic.
It is. It absolutely is. Again, no odds right now. By the morning on the radio side on a numbers game, I will hope that they will have not only the outrights but also quarters, so I might have pinpointed bets. Zach, you will have yours at VSiN.com/picks as well.
Yep. At some point tomorrow, I'll write up, some draw previews and futures for both men and women.
You're on
Did
tomorrow
we make
morning.
a mistake not mentioning Madison Keys? I'm just kidding. I don't think she could.
That's our thing, right? Before we leave,
slide it in there. Yeah.
It's like
she actually draws. Okay, that's the other half of the Rybakina section is the Navarro Keys sad sack of this year kind of deal.
Ever since the fateful right before the Australian Open last Columbo remark, as I made out there. Hey, what do you think about Madison Keys? I think that's, I think she is. She's the, I say this about the Washington Capitals and hockey growing up in D.C. I think once they won the Stanley Cup, I think if you really gave truth serum to every Caps fan, they'll be like, we got our cup. We're good. We're good. It's we can act like we want to win it, but we got our cup. And I kind of feel that way with Keys. Like, I think we've seen it, and it's into the ether, I believe. We'll see.
She's
Stearns
also she's a slam player too. And
she's a slam player. And last thing is, Peyton Stearns is not a thing here, right? Like, she won her tournament in Austin. By the way, I faded her in the semis.
She got to sleep in her own bed, yeah.
Oh, brutal. Just brutal. I can't believe she won either of those matches the way they turn out, but she's not a thing here, right?
Don't think so.
I don't think so either. Yeah. Okay. So Zach stuff at VSiN.com/picks. Mine will be there as well. But Drew, you're on the radio with me tomorrow as well, with me and Kelly.
Yeah, we'll chat a lot, chat some more on this.
So we'll have some actual bets given the odds tomorrow morning. Hope there's some food for thought in there. Anything to add, or we pretty much did all we can do?
We didn't
here?
call the men's side.
Oh, well, Zach did. What's your
call?
Pick?
I had Alcaraz over Sinner.
I assume that the people have been waiting for this moment of the whole podcast, which is what is the wrong choice between Sinner and Alcaraz in the final? Because I have now going on at least 6 times called the exact wrong outcome here between these two men.
You have accurately said the tournament doesn't start for 2 weeks, and then the one match of the tournament you can't get right.
In a world where I just want to make money and enjoy good tennis, I would have just bet one of these two will win, and then kicked my feet up and enjoyed the slam and not had any kind of consequence. But I never have played it that way, so shame on me. I think Sinner has the cleaner path to get there, but I'm not sure what's going on with him right now. I got to be honest. I think there is a weird sort of lack of killer instinct in a lot of the matches that I've seen him play so far this year, going back into a little bit of last year. And I think the Cahill coaching cycle might be over in terms of getting through to him as far as kind of bringing out the best of him, maybe. And I think in kind of, again, the long historical spirit of being exactly backwards on these players, I assumed that the coaching change for Alcaraz was going to be consequential in a negative way. And I think it was good. And I think Sinner is now curdling under, with the same kind of voices in his team, and he needs to move on from Cahill. So I think Alcaraz takes this one.
Does that Alcaraz thing, though, seem like it's a short-term thing and that eventually that will catch up to him at some point? No?
I mean, he's always been the more athletic player. I think it's just a matter of, can he rein in some of the wildness and, kind of not make the key mistakes. And, Sinner's more of the clinical efficiency and Alcaraz is more of the impossibly athletic shot making, and Sinner now has a pretty clear problem where the longer a match goes, the more vulnerable he is. I don't think anyone in their right mind is preparing for a match with Sinner and isn't starting the conversation with their coach with, how do we get this into hour 3, hour 4? Because that is going to give us our best chance to win. That to me seems like a problem. And if you're clinically efficient and you still can't end some of these matches more comfortably, then I think there's a chance you fade a bit, and that may be where that may be ultimately the story of 2026 for Sinner, and he comes back with a new coach next year and it's different or something. Who knows? But
so what's your 7th in a row, Drew? What's your 7th in a row on this?
Well, I'm calling Sinner to lose this tournament too, and so congratulations to Yannick Sinner on winning Indian Wells.
That's right. Zach, you're wrong. It's Sinner. He's going to win it.
It was really close to like both of them winning, like in a way on the road, like in all of the Slam finals last year, with like Sinner almost won Roland Garros.
Yes, it was.
Sinner Wimbledon. Yeah, it was really close.
It was close.
What's Kyrgios? Yeah. Nick Kyrgios's line is that Sinner.
I was on the right side of the closing favorite in every match, and I lost them all. So it's not lost on me.
So you did your job. Yeah, just didn't work out. Nick Kyrgios's line about the two is Sinner will be better because Carlos likes girls too much. That was Nick Kyrgios's line. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think it's Alcaraz, But I will tell you this, on the women's side, in my heart of hearts, I really don't know. I really don't know. I'd love to sit here and say it's Iga, but I just don't feel it right now for her to win a third here. Someone had a great comment about her the other day, which is when she was at her peak, there was a fluidity to her athleticism, and now it's more of a frantic athleticism, which I find to be a pretty astute comment if you watch her game. Like, it's one thing that her feet are always moving. She's as quick as anybody on tour. I get it. But there's something that's a little more frenetic.
Who's coaching her right now?
Wim.
Whit Fissette.
Still?
Wim
I
Fissette,
thought he was kind of like splitting his duties a bit. Like, he's not always 100% engaged.
That's her guy.
Interesting.
I do think that like backing Iga's like watching like Uncut Gems right now. It's like the most anxiety-inducing experience of all time.
Oh, dude, don't get me started. I know. Believe me, I know. Last thing, and this has nothing to do with any of this tournament, I was just curious about because I'm interested in it. Brad Gilbert, who used to come on a numbers game from time to time, no longer at ESPN. I'm curious how you feel about him and Cahill no longer being there and like the new guard coverage at the Australian Open, and the fact that now Andy Roddick is going to do slams as well. That's a good thing, right? Roddick doing it. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I like Roddick doing it. I did not like getting rid of Gilbert or Cahill though. I feel like Roland Garros knocked it out of the park last year and like completely crushed everybody when it came to coverage.
Okay. I didn't love the studio part of it, but I like the broadcast themselves.
Yeah, you're asking the wrong person.
Yeah, you're just not.
I want the radio call.
You love the radio call. That's right.
Yeah, I love the radio call. I don't really care for what they're saying much. All I know is that John McEnroe should have been put out to pasture 10 years ago, probably. And the fact that they put him on any women's matches is it's an embarrassment to the sport.
Are you suggesting that he's not a big fan of women's tennis? What are you suggesting there?
Yeah.
All right, boys.
Listen to him. You remember, what was it? Was it Iga Paolini? Was that one of the French Open finals that Iga won? It was mercifully very short.
Yeah, Paolini.
Yeah. Thankfully, we didn't have to hear more than an hour and 20 minutes of McEnroe on that call.
Do you remember what it was specifically that was bothering you about him?
Yeah, he was just like, man, this Paolini chick, she's just like a little fire plug. She's a little spark plug. She's so small, so cute. Like
so cute.
It's like, has he ever seen her play? Like he's literally like reacting to like so the cute audience who only tuned into the final, like seeing her for the first time in his life, and it's literally like, dude, this is the women's final of the Slam. Come on.
I do have I'll close it with a very but this could be construed as sexist. I'm going to just say this right off the top. But I have bet women's tennis for, since the Eisenhower administration. I feel like when a tough set is lost, let's say in a tiebreaker, I felt like there was more steeliness in the past. And I just feel like we're in a stretch where players collapse now in a way at a rate that I am going to suggest is higher than I ever remember it. No, I have no data on this. I have no empirical evidence. Just in my betting, that's how I feel. It's like, if there's a game that lasts 12 minutes, whoever loses that game, done. If there's a tiebreaker in a particularly long set, whoever loses that, done. I'm just seeing it more often. Not saying
I don't think it's crazy. I think the women's game has gotten substantially more physical. Like substantially more.
So maybe there's something to it.
Yeah. So like, if you're, it's less of like, it's less of a mental, I quit, I give up. And it's more of like, I had to push my body to a very, very, to the precipice, and I didn't get what I needed. So it's over. Right. Yeah. Like that's the way I would read into it a little more. I don't think that's crazy though at all that you noticed that.
All right. I don't feel so bad now. Thanks, Drew. Appreciate it. Got me off the hook there. Thank you so much.
I mean, just go back and watch what was the Ostapenko final at Roland Garros? Was she playing Halep?
2017.
Do you remember that one?
2017, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, go back and watch that compared to what you see on women's clay tennis now, and it's just a different sport. It's crazy.
Couldn't believe she won that. Couldn't believe it. That was like the first 2 months of VSiN. That's how I remember. I remember where I was at the South Point when I heard Ostapenko won. That kind of thing. All right. VSiN.com/picks for Zach. Me and Drew on a numbers game tomorrow morning. Drew, do you know your exact time tomorrow? 11 a.m. Eastern?
I'll be there.
Pacific?
Yep.
I think that's what it is. So we will have numbers, hopefully by then, and actual bets specifically. But hope we gave you some food for thought. Drew is at whale_capper, Deep Dive podcast, which he does with Andy Molitor. Bet the Edge, NBC Sports with Jay Croucher. And Zach does all kinds of things. Hardwood handicappers in basketball is his bread and butter. Does everything at VSiN.com, but always is betting tennis. He writes about college basketball, he writes about everything. Poor guy. Writes about everything under the sun. Is there something you don't write about, Zach? Baseball, you write about everything. What don't you do?
Probably baseball, but I feel like I want to do it again this year. So we'll see. I don't know.
Love handicapping baseball. All right, boys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And Drew, we'll talk in the morning. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Best luck.